Hi. You might be wondering what sets SmartClass apart? Like, why choose SmartClass over all of these other digital platforms that are out there for my language teaching? Why use their English curriculum? Why use their German or Spanish supplemental curriculum? Well, the answer is we offer interactive speaking and listening, not just reading and writing, which we also have, but we have a strong focus on interactive speaking and listening activities. So when choosing the right curriculum, I remember the times when I was sitting there in the classroom, trying to prepare for the next school year and thinking, okay, what can I do to best prepare my students to be speaking, but also be listening, be good citizens for this multi-language world that we're living in. And what I found was, well, we have many platforms out there, but not all of these platforms or like website have the right kind of materials. I also found a ton of great materials, but it was really hard to find something that also had like an online component. There wasn't really a lot of time in my classes to do a lot of speaking with the students. I also didn't really have time to do pronunciation other than like going through vocab lists and trying to explain to students of how to say words. But you can't spend a lot of class time on that because otherwise that's all you would be doing. Listen and repeat, and say things and students repeating them until everybody felt confident enough that they had the words down of how to say them. Also, another problem was there were lots of different accounts that I had to create, that my students had to create in order for them to get recordings to me or do a couple of activities here or there. So this whole speaking component, I always felt like, what I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough speaking activities for my students to be working on, especially at home. I don't know what they were doing. They didn't know if they were doing it right. So that was always a big challenge. So that's why I found SmartClass as such a game changer. They're not only these fun and engaging activities, they also focus on all four language skills, which means they also focus on speaking and listening. They're all integrated into the software. So there's no like going from one place to another to try to like find them. They're all housed in the same place. Students get instant feedback because there's an AI pronunciation activity that they can practice with at home. It's a full English curriculum that's available, and then also supplemental materials for English and Spanish. And what I really liked is these activities were ready to be assigned, and I could create my own activities at the same time. So whether you are working from home and teaching from home and having your students at home, whether you have some kind of hybrid model, trying to figure out asynchronous, synchronous timing, or you're back in the classroom, this is the solution for all of it. So the first activity that I want to introduce you to are open recordings. Open recordings are really nice because it gives the students a lot of time to be talking freely. So all they do is they hit this record button here in our software, and they answer either questions, they follow a prompt, they look at photographs and tell a story. It could be a pronunciation paragraph where the paragraph focuses on certain phonetic sounds, and then the students record saying those. So you really have a way of like looking at them when they say things. It could be a translation thing. So students listen to an audio file, for example, or a video, and then they translate it into the foreign language that they're learning or vice versa. So there's tons of different possibilities when it comes to open recordings. And the nice thing with those is that after students are done, they can listen to themselves again. So they can reflect on their learning. They can erase the recording, either the entire one or parts of it to re-record. So they're really responsible for their own learning experience and making sure that they submit the best thing that they can. So it's not a one time, you get this one chance, you might be a little bit nervous. No, you can do this over and over, which I should be doing for my videos here actually. Segmented recordings are the next option that we have in our SmartClass Hub. And the nice thing about segmented recordings is that you don't have to build in any pauses while you're recording an audio file, but you can do that in the software. So let's say you want your students to be answering 5 questions. You record an audio file, either you have it externally already, or you can record it in our SmartClass hub. And then when you go in and create the segmented recording, you pause the recording and exactly where you would want your students to answer. And then you either leave as much room as you can give your students to answer, or you hit a little button that's called variable length recording. So that means students, after they're done responding, they hit done to listen to the next question. These are really great for question and answer. Like I said, you listen to a question and then you respond. It could be a listen and repeat, like a vocabulary practice, or sentences where they repeat the entire sentence after you have said it. You could put all your chapter vocabulary into an audio file. So those are great homework activities to get your students speaking at home and work with words and pronunciation without you having to constantly repeat them or work individually with your students. And then our third recording option is a continuous recording. So that means the recording continues over something. So you could have all of your chapter vocabulary in one audio file that needs to be repeated. However, different than the segmented recording, here you have to build in the pauses when you're recording these files. So let's say you want them to say the book. In your head, you have to wait book and then move on. So you cannot do this in the system where you add the pauses. So for the continuous recordings, you would have to have these pauses already built into your audio file. So if you're recording these audio files yourself, it does not really matter, because then you know. If you have pre-existing audio files, let's say from something else, or like videos or songs that you want to use, a segmented recording might be better if you want students to answer or say something in between. It's a great way though to practice unscripted mock conversations. So you have students listen to a part A and then they respond in part B. And then you decide how much time they have. Let's say, okay, you only have 5 seconds to answer. Like in a real conversation, you wouldn't have the chance to stand there think. It would be kind of awkward. It's also nice for AP practice, because that's how AP tests and a lot of other tests work, where you ask a question, you leave 20 seconds for the students to respond, and then the next question hits them. So great practice for those kind of situations. And then my personal favorite is talk over a video. I love uploading simple videos, and then I have my students talk over these videos. So while they're watching, they record their audio file of saying, what is happening in this video, or telling the backstory, or they see someone cook and they have to make up the recipe on the go. But again, these all give the students the chance to redo them before they submit them to the teacher. So they are responsible for saying, okay, this is my very best that I can do. Or they say, I didn't like that part, I'm going to erase it and start over with the recordings. And then we have the similar kind of recordings for video recordings. Here you can see, for example, projects. Projects or presentations are great, where you also want to see your students. You don't just want to hear them. So you give them a video open recording so that you can see them talk, you can see them present, maybe have like a piece of paper or a board or a poster board or something there. It can also be the same thing with a story or a video message or getting to know you. So where the students every week make like a little video about themselves or about the topic that you're learning about. And it's always nice to include a video in that one. And then the other video version that we have is a video continuous recording, which is kind of the same thing. You can have a mock Skype conversation where you actually record yourself sitting there asking questions, and then the students have time to answer. It could be a vocabulary pronunciation practice so that they can see how you pronounce things. Also really nice for sign language, for example, so that students can see and practice their sign language skills. And then lastly, we have our pronunciation activities. If you, by the way, want to know how these actually work in the hub, go to the full blog post. In there, I have short videos where I show you how these work in our system. So you'll see exactly how it works, how you can do the replay buttons, how you can do these pronunciation activities. But they're available in 18 different languages, and some of them are variations of the same language. And you can create flashcards in there with like simple pictures and words. We have a definition button so that there are the translations in there that you can put in as a teacher, giving them the word in their native language. The students then listen to the sentences. That is nothing that you have to record. This is all artificial intelligence based. So you literally just type the sentences in, the rest of the system takes care of for you. So let's say we have this first sentence, this baker makes the best desserts. You type that sentence and you send it to your students as an activity. When the students get it, they have the listen button. So they click on listen and they hear the artificial intelligence say this sentence for them. Then they hit click and talk and they say the sentence. And then when they hit stop, the AI again writes out what it heard. So students right there can see exactly what they have said, what the AI has picked up. They might have forgotten a word, they might have mispronounced something. So they can keep doing this until they hit 100%. And they can also listen to themselves again. So let's say they're not quite sure, like, why didn't it pick this up? They can listen to themselves and be like, oh, yeah, I started too early, let's say, and then this wasn't captured by the microphone yet. Let me redo this one. So I love this for vocabulary pronunciation, not just for words, but I try to use words in context and full sentences, and then make these kind of like flashcards for students. And again, if you want to see how this exactly works, go to the full blog post where you can see the entire video of how this works in the system. So yeah, this was my solution to all of my struggles when it came to getting my students to speak in the classroom and outside of the classroom, using the SmartClass Hub as my digital language teaching platform, and then choosing either the English, German, or Spanish content, or creating my own content. I had the opportunity to really customize this experience for my students and myself and get them to speak and listen way more than they ever did before. I saw the boost in confidence in my students when they were all of a sudden like raising their hand and volunteering. And I was like, oh, okay, what is happening? Like, oh yeah, I had time to practice at home and now I think I really got this. And it's like, okay, this is awesome. This is exactly what I would want my students to be doing. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, feel free to check out the full blog, follow us on Facebook, or watch a couple more of our videos on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to reach out at any point.